Yeah. Ah, that was rougher than I thought.
Anyway.
Welcome to another episode of Lone Star Drift. I'm here with Aaren Smith.
This video is about my nutso buddy, Aaren Smith. He is the guy that introduced me to Mustang drifting probably about 10 years ago and has been driving with Lone Star Drift for a really long time. This video I just thought was really interesting. It's about timing in SR20 and installing cams, and I found myself kind of mesmerized watching it, so I thought you guys would enjoy it. So here we go. This is Aaren Smith. He's had tons of cool cars, multiple Mustangs, crazy off-road UTVs, circle track cars, anything you can name. This dude has weapon grades autism and has probably had 100 different cars. He's a real mechanic. Well, not anymore. He works in the oil field, gas industry right now. But he has been around forever. Please enjoy this episode.
All right, so I have been working on this SR. This is the SR that's going in this car. It's a built SR. Oh, I can't remember what it's in it, but it's rods and pistons and race bearings and all the normal stuff, a Pexi head gasket, blah, blah, blah. I pulled the cams out of here, not to replace them because I want to keep the factory cams. My last motor had BC cams, and one of my other videos I talked about how terrible my experience with BC cams has been so far. But anyway, I'm keeping the stock cams. So one thing I did want to look, if you come over here. So this is a thing that some people say is dumb and other people like. If you notice, normally on the SR you only have one of these little guides like this, and then you have just a normal shim on this side. If you're familiar with SRs at all, spitting rockers is a very big problem. So you can measure these guys. Basically, you measure the thickness of it, and you can measure off a stand that you build using one of these lifters here. But anyway, you do the math and you figure it out, and you just make it to where you can run one of these on both sides. You also have to take a little bit of the rocker down. You just do it with I did it with a wheel. But where it sits in here nicely, and if you look, it's got just a little bit of wiggle room like it should. Nothing's bound or anything, but that will keep it from being able to come off side to side. Like for instance, if something happens and something gets bound up or whatever, instead of only one side being able to hold in, you'll have two. That's something that I like to do on SRs. Like I said, some people don't do it. Some people say it's dumb. It is a bit of extra work, but hopefully it'll help out and I won't spit a rock or anything. All right, so now everything's been lubed. It's got assembly lube and all that crap on it, and I'm gonna start putting the cams in. I'm just in my garage after work, so I'm probably gonna be slow and lazy and stuff, but yeah. So I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna get a cam. This is the intake cam, and this motor was already properly timed before. There's three marks on your timing chain that you line up when you're doing this. I'll show them to you here in a minute once I get this cam in here. Or these cams. Hey, can you move that thing for me? Thanks. And obviously when you're working with cams and stuff, you want to be as gentle with them as you can. But yeah, if you come over right here, you can see there is a darker link than the other links. And there's a little dot right here. So when you put this cam in, pick it up. Come on. So when you put this cam in, you want to get that dot on that link. So that guy is on the link, and you can sit in right here. Now, this thing is just loose here. You want to make sure it's nice and flat and everything, but it's not compressed at all. If you notice, there's a gap in here because obviously some of these guys would be pushing down valves. But you're just gonna let him chill for a minute and get the other cam before you put before the caps and stuff. At least I do. I mean, I guess you could, but whatever. Just makes it easier if that cam can move while you're putting this one in. And same thing. This guy's got a little dot on him, and there's a dark link over here, just like the other one. And I'll do this. It helps to make noises when you're doing things. Like, I like little race car noises personally. You can do whatever you want. Dinosaur, dogs barking. I don't know if you're into furry stuff. Can't actually see the thing because I'm blocking my own light. Should be around in here. Aha. Okay. Like I said, this is my own personal engine, so I don't mind if I'm a little rough with it or whatever. No one's paying me to do this. I'm just wasting a bunch of money doing it myself. So, all right. So same thing. Now you go and double check. This dot is still in the dark one. This dot is still in the dark one. I have this wedge in here. This tool has a little wedge. Looks like a little cheese thing on the end, and it just holds tension on stuff while you're working on it until you get it all bolted down, and then you can put the tensioner back in. So there's no tensioner in it obviously right now. But I'm going to start getting the caps. You have to be super careful when you're doing the caps because they only take like 6 to 8 foot-pounds, which is like 85 inch-pounds or something. I looked it up earlier because mine's in inch-pounds. But so you can snap those things like super easily. You also have to be careful when you're tightening them down that you don't start on one end and go to the other because you'll angle over and you can actually hurt the cam or hurt the head surface. And that'd be bad. Most likely you'd hurt the head surface before you hurt the cam. But there's a tightening procedure where you basically like, you know, one like bounce it around until you get them all the way down and seated, and then you torque them, just like any other motor. But on these guys, just like any other dual overhead cam motor normally, the cam caps are super easy to break, and they're part of the casting, so it's not like you can just grab another one and throw it in. Like obviously you can, but you know it's not really a good idea. And also they have an order. They're numbered. I always just lay them down how I got them out. But if you ever, like you can't really put this one here and everything because like I said, it's part of the casting and they cut them out and then machine them down and everything. So you don't want to screw that up. Oops, wait a minute. Oh, I'm like, okay. And this is for people like me who are retarded and forget that they're labeled intake exhaust, and I just had it on backwards from where I took them over there and put on a little table and I just had them backwards. So intake and forward, pew. That guy goes here. You can zoom out, close. Also be super careful when you're working up here because if you drop anything, it can go down into the oil drains and end up down in your crankcase, and then you'd have to take everything apart and that would suck. So don't do that. All right, so this is a super boring part of it, obviously. Should have been talking about interesting things, I guess, while I was doing this. But yeah, so now you just hand tight everything. Then once it's tight, you'll come in. All right, so this is an inch-pound torque wrench. So like I said, it's set to like 86 or something, whatever it's supposed to be. I don't really recall off the top of my head. Yeah, so like I said, when you're doing this, you don't want to put a ton of pressure on just one cam cap. So as you start bringing it down with one, start putting some load on the other ones as well, so you don't end up cracking one. And you don't want to do one side of one cam cap all the way down, for the same reason you don't want to do the cams all the way down on one side. If you do the cam cap all the way down on one side and put a bunch of torque on one side, it'll actually deflect the thing and it might crack, which would be bad for other reasons we stated earlier. But like I said, this is kind of long and tedious and boring, but it's part of it. Maybe I might actually edit this thing and fast forward. Probably not, because I'm lazy. Yeah, so this car will be getting a GTX Turbo by Garrett, ID 1700s. It's got an EMO ECU and some other junk. Most likely I'll end up shooting for something like 375 horsepower, like to the wheels. I don't know, maybe a little less. All right, so these are all seated now. So now that they're all the way down, I'm not actually putting any torque on any of them. I'm just making sure that all of them are flat and all of them are flush, so that when I do torque them, I don't end up cracking one. I'm very tempted when I do these things to pick up like a like an electric impact, like a little 1/4 inch or something, but even with that, you can still break these things. And I just don't want to deal with that, because I kind of hate this car already, and I would probably never work on it again. Just like throw this motor in the trash, just like burn it all. Ugh. Now I'm gonna torque it down. As you can see, it's like basically instant. It literally seems like you're not putting any torque on these things, but that's what they call for, so that's what you do. And I see these broken all the time, same with the valve cover bolts, so like I would trust what they say. All right, so that's done. Now that I'm dinking around with that, I'll come back over here, verify the dots are in the right place, which they are. And, ooh, I say that. Yeah, there we go. Whew. Okay, so, yeah, okay. Top dead center. Good. Good. All right. So, now I am going to put the tensioner in. So the tensioner is a fun little guy. It's spring loaded and it's got a little catch on it. So you put it in there and you get it where you want it, and it'll push that guide out, and then you have to reach down and pop that loose, and it'll put tension on everything. Which actually, I dropped a washer, so now I gotta find that washer real quick. Man, I am super good at this vlogging stuff. Same thing. Those are easy to break. Don't over torque them. Don't go crazy. This little guy needs to go on. He's just a guide. This guy loose. Oh, so when I was taking this out, it actually released the little guy on the tensioner, so I'm gonna have to do that. Like I was saying, there's just, you can actually look in there. You can't right now because there's not a flight. But you just stick a screwdriver in there and you just push down on it, and it releases it. So now, before you go any further, you need to lightly rotate the engine over and make sure you didn't screw it up. So. Alright, so I haven't hit any valves yet, so I'm actually going to take it back so I can put the cam angle sensor in. Alright, so on the cam angle sensor, when you do the cam angle sensor, it's got 2 little dots on it. We'll look at those real quick. So if you look, there's a dot here and a dot here, and then there's a notch on the cam angle sensor. So this goes straight up into the motor, and when it hits the cam gear, it will rotate and end up like that. So that's what you want. You want to start it lined up with the 1 dot, and then when you put it in, it'll be lined up with the 2nd dot. And that's at top dead center or whatever, or mark over here. That's it's not actually top dead center, whatever. Anyway, it's over. You line it up, and sorry, I'm really tired. I've been up since like 3:45 this morning. But if you look right here, you'll see what I'm talking about. So this guy's straight up and down right now. Whoop. You put it in. I don't know if there's enough light for you actually to see. And then I'm gonna rotate the smart watch your feet. All right, yeah. So now it's lined up with the 2nd dot, and that should be golden. And worst comes to worst, if I'm a little bit off, it's super easy to do. You just pop the valve cover, put it back in, and you're done. All right. So that's pretty much it. Double check all your work. These are tight. This guy's tight. Torqued all these guys down. Did I? Did I miss these guys? Now I'm questioning myself. I'm gonna check those. I might have missed those. I don't remember having to work around this, so. Oh, you're a dick. This is the problem with working while distracted or working while tired or just being generally scatterbrained, is you have to do jobs twice sometimes. But it'd be really dumb to leave those loose, so I'm gonna check them. Camera woman / tool holder. Yeah, they're all good. Which I might have missed them, but these things require like so little torque that just tightening them down is like enough. Oh, come on, you. Okay. So, like I said, that is a very quick, very rough throwing cams and an SR20. This is an S13, SR20. S14 has, you know, like the variable valve timey thingy on the front. It's just got a different style of cam on the front. But from here, that's pretty much it on this video. Yeah, like I said, I probably did something wrong or whatever. I don't really care. Yeah, I'm going to call it quits on that one. I'm going to put this in this car this weekend. We were going to do it last weekend, but ran into some scheduling stuff and had to do some other junk. So this weekend, we're going to be putting this thing in the car, which is actually nice because it gave me a chance to do this. I didn't want to do it in the car because it's a lot harder when you have to like lean over the car and you end up dropping stuff. But yeah, so this will be going in the car, and hopefully you'll be doing burnouts by like this time next week. I mean, properly breaking in this new motor, and then going from there. But thanks for watching. If you made it this far, again, sorry for my weaponized autism. Yeah, bye.
Or feel anything, as all of my senses are dulled by the copious amount of dust currently pouring into the vehicle.
The day wouldn't be over without a retarded burnout, so take it, Aaren.